Chapter 187. Yudhir leaned back slightly in his chair, deftly steering the conversation back on track. Regardless if there are any further developments or changes regarding yesterday's incident, I will report to you immediately. Please do. Although Yudhir found Kishir's tiny smirk indicative of an expected response, rather displeasing, he continually reminded himself of Kishir's poor health, striving to regain his composure. Speaking of which, did you hear why Thias Yulman is so insistent on meeting me first thing in the morning? He said he had something to say about the power of the red stone, so I thought I would listen to him later. Yes, that's the reason for Thias Yulman's excited departure suddenly sprang to mind as he opened his mouth to reply without a second thought. Right, I should have reported about Alex's awakening first. He had forgotten, taken aback by the sight of Kishir lying in bed. I apologize. I should have mentioned this sooner, but Alec became an awakener this morning. That's why Mr. Yulman sought you out. The young mage who fainted yesterday? He became an awakener? The news seemed to startle even Kishir. Raising from the cushion, Kishir questioned him with a serious face. Are you certain? What is his ability? I am certain from what I observed. He has the ability to summon water, and given that he couldn't use elemental magic before, there doesn't seem to be room for doubt. If you saw it that way, then it must be certain. Accepting Yudhir's answer, Kishir leaned back on the large cushion again. A mage awakener. I thought such a case might exist, but I never expected to appear so close to home. Mr. Yulman seemed to think that Alex's awakening was due to the environment he was in, which was heavily exposed to the power of the redstone. That makes sense. There was also the rise of the rate of awakenings among the Imperial soldiers during the redstone retrieval operation. I thought the same and informed him of this. Kishir rubbed his chin lightly and nodded. Good job. Mr. Yulman, after hearing the story, thought of a few new hypotheses linking that incident and this one. It might be best to discuss them once you're feeling better. I was planning to do that, but hearing you say this, it might be better to meet him right away. Before Yudhir could protest, Kishir had fully risen. I'm sorry, but could you bring me the clothes I left over there? Commander, you don't need to push yourself to meet him right away. I'm fine. Talking with you seems to have healed me more than 10 revitalizing incense sticks could. It was a conversation more invigorating. What are you? If you won't bring them, I'll just change myself. Or do you prefer to stand there and admire my body? Inspecting the body of an Imperial member could be punishable as sacrilege, but I'll allow this for you. Kishir untied the string around his waist with a playful grin. Yudhir averted his gaze from the supposedly exposed chest and slightly moved towards the clothes Kishir had requested. A set of top and bottom clothes, seemingly prepared in anticipation for needing to change at any moment despite his poor health, were neatly placed in a noticeable spot along with the robe. Seeing this, he couldn't help but question the truth behind the saying that Kishir indeed knew how precious his body was. Fetch the undershirt and trousers first. The overcoat follows. As per his command, Yudhir returned to the bed with the trousers and undershirt in hand, the overcoat slung over his arm. Is it all right if I do not assist you? He asked quietly, eyes lowered. A light-hearted chuckle responded. It's fine. As I have said before, there's no Imperial family who can dress himself as well as I. Yet, why do you avert your gaze even after I said I'm all right? Rather than replying, Yudhir chose to turn away immediately. Fortunately, Kishir did not further engage in conversation, quickly changing into the clothes. Now, Hand me the overcoat. Upon hearing the command and turning around, Yudhir saw Cashier just buttoning the last button of his shirt. Yudhir held up the overcoat he had draped over his arm, spreading it so Cashier could slip his arm straight into it. Cashier's clothing felt surprisingly large, a testament to his larger-than-average stature. Cashier turned around, a small, wry smile lifting the corner of his mouth as he raised his eyebrow. Even when I said it's all right, you still help. I appreciate it. Once fully dressed and with his hair casually combed, he seemed to be in perfect condition, save for a slightly paler complexion than usual. Let's go now. Nathan Zuckerman, who has been standing near the dressing room entrance, seemed surprised at the sight of his lord swiftly emerging dressed. However, he quickly sighed and summoned Thias Ullman, who was still waiting outside. Commander, you're finally awake. I have been waiting for so long. The old mage, unable to hide his excitement, exclaimed as he rushed in. Spotting Yudhir behind Cashier, he sent a brief glance of gratitude his way. Please hear my story. Amazingly, my apprentice, Alec, this morning. He's an awakener now, I heard. Yes, that's correct, but the important thing is not that. Cashier, who was with his nonchalant demeanor, managed to escort the excited mage to a sofa and patiently listened to his tale. Frankly, Yudhir had difficulty understanding the phrases and terms that Thias rambled breathlessly. Upon skipping from one point to another, yet Cashier seemed to comprehend it all. So, if we can find a way to validate this theory, something incredible will happen. If it happens, as you said, indeed. Do you think the same, Commander? Then the future research. But before that, I have something to address. At Kishir's firm tone, which broke off the conversation with a smile, Thias Ullman was momentarily taken aback. His excitement over the research seemed to cool down. While I have faith in your capabilities as a researcher and a mage, what's most crucial is dealing with the matter in mutual trust and caution. Should I continue to entrust this task to someone whose greed and excitement, like yesterday, might get ahead of his reason, potentially bringing danger to all? I have been pondering this since last night. Your Highness, that is, Thias Ullman, who changed his address in his haste, was silenced by a raised hand from Cashier. The old mage felt crushed under the gaze of the young duke, much like prey before a predator, and closed his mouth. I apologize. As soon as I saw you, I should have asked for forgiveness and promised there would be no recurrence, but in my excitement, I mistakenly prioritized. After he respectfully bowed his head in apology, he seemed to finally break free from the oppressive force that weighed him down. I hope there is no repetition of what happened yesterday. We will also change the location for future research. A new oath must be written, and we might need additional manpower for the research. Is that acceptable? Of course, it's acceptable. It will ease our minds as well. That's good. A soft yet threatening smile briefly swept over his red eyes. We will discuss the details later. You may leave now. Thias Ullman promptly rose, said his farewell, and hastened out of the office. Yudhir watched his retreating figure, apparently shell-shocked, and felt relieved that he probably wouldn't be reckless as he had been before. Commander, then shall I also? You stay here for a moment. Cashier, who had been quietly watching the door until Thias Ullman disappeared, finally exhaled deeply and leaned back on the sofa. Nathan, bring that along with the water. That? Seeming to notice his puzzlement, Cashier slightly opened his previously closed eyes. The gaze that had been so stern when dealing with Thias Ullman had entirely softened. You will understand once you see it. It's for you. Here you are. Nathan Zuckerman returned, placing a glass of ice water in front of cashier and a paper bound with a string in front of Yudhir. After a moment of hesitation, Yudhir untied the string and promptly read the written contents. I, Cavalry Commander Kishir Or, grant Assistant Yudhir Il the authority to continuously appoint 5 subordinates and allies directly under his command. Appointments are limited to cavalry members and exclude anyone in a deputy commander position. Apart from this, it is left to Yudhir Il's discretion. No matter how many times he read it, the content was the same. It was an order giving him the power to have colleagues and subordinates to assist him in his work under Kishir. Commander, this is... Didn't I say I would reward you if you rested well for 3 days? Although there was an incident yesterday, I thought I should give it to you now, as a form of praise. He had promised a reward, but Yudhir never expected to be something like this. As Yudhir blankly stayed in surprise, unsure of the intention, Kishir chuckled softly and waved his hand. You always strive to go beyond what you are commanded. After some thought, I decided it would be better to give you extra hands to assist you. I'm fine without such authority. His objection was promptly overruled. You don't have to decide immediately, just accept it for now. Also, there is actually another reward. Excuse me? You'll find it when you return to your quarters from the medical division. You'll probably like that one better. Kishir mumbled, a mysterious smile on his face. Seeing this, a strange sense of unease stirred within Yudhir.